Good evening, everyone. We begin the readout tonight with Russia accused of war crimes after new scenes of utter hell emerged in Ukraine over the weekend, with hundreds of bodies found strewn around towns outside the capital, Kyiv, following the Russian withdrawal from that area. The new evidence appears to show deliberate killings of innocent, unarmed civilians. Now, a warning, maybe send the kids out of the room, because the pictures we're about to show you are very disturbing. The horrors are unimaginable. A trail of dead bodies in Bucha, bodies with bound hands, some seemingly shot at close range, and signs of torture. People buried in mass graves, while others were left lying on the street, like this lifeless body next to a bike. Bucha residents who survived shared their harrowing accounts of what they saw.
Those people were just walking, and they shot them without any reason. Bang. In the next neighborhood, Stokolka, it was even worse. They would shoot without asking any questions.
He went to get some wood when all of a sudden the Russians started shooting. They hit him a bit above the hill, crushing the bone, and he fell down. The shooter shouted, "Don't scream or I will shoot," and they turned away. Then they shot off his left leg completely. Then they shot him all over the chest. And another shot went slightly below the temple. It was a controlled shot to the head.
Here is President Vladimir Zelensky in Bucha today on how this moment will be remembered.
This is a war crime, and it will be recognized by the world as genocide. You are here, and you see what has happened. We know thousands of people were killed and tortured, with severed limbs, raped women, killed children. I think this is genocide.
The images of battered bodies and corpses left out in the open have triggered fresh worldwide revulsion over Putin's war, with world leaders calling for tougher sanctions against Moscow. President Biden again today called Vladimir Putin a war criminal.
You may remember I got criticized for calling Putin a war criminal. Well, the truth of the matter is so what happened in Bucha. This warrants him, he is a war criminal. But we have to gather the information. We have to continue to provide Ukraine with the weapons they need to continue the fight. And we have to gather all the detail so this can be have a war crime trial. This guy is brutal. And what's happening in Bucha is outrageous. And everyone's seen it. He should be held accountable.
Russia, for its part, has dismissed the images of executed unarmed civilians as fake and staged, as a provocation to malign Russian forces. The chair of the United Nations Security Council is refusing Russia's request to hold an emergency meeting on the Kremlin's outlandish claim. Deny and deflect. The Russian dictator behaving like a Russian Alex Jones, the American conspiracy theorist who called the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre in Connecticut that killed 26 people, including 20 first graders, a hoax. Only much worse, in that the person responsible for the carnage in Ukraine is Putin himself. Joining me now is MSNBC anchor and correspondent Ali Velshi in Lviv. And Ali, we are seeing images that are almost unreal. It's Armageddon-like images. And now for Putin to dare to say we're not seeing what we're seeing, it's outrageous. What are you seeing and what are you hearing in Lviv?
Well, and I have to say, it's not just Vladimir Putin. It's being reflected in conspiracy theory-based U.S. media as well. The idea that we don't really have proof. We don't really know what happened. We don't know who killed these people. Then there's satellite imagery that shows that these bodies were there before the Russians left. So this idea that the Russians left and then somehow Ukrainians came in and killed these people, it's remarkable. That's now been proved. And now the conspiracy theorists, including Russia, are saying, well, the people who take the satellite images are a U.S. defense contractor. So the problem is people are bearing witness. You're going to be speaking to a member of parliament. We're seeing people who have been in there, who have taken videos, not just the ones that you're seeing on TV. Independently, they have sent these videos of dead bodies on the streets. And I think it has changed a few things. Lithuania has decided it's not taking any oil and gas from Russia. You're hearing Romania making promises. France has expelled Russian diplomats. Germany has said that it was is incorrect to suggest that it didn't want to have that pipeline from Russia to Germany to provide natural gas. So something has changed, and what the president has said is we need to collect and investigate these as war crimes. Now, in Ukraine, people are going a step further. They're saying it's genocide because the Russians have been saying that Ukraine's not really a country and these people need to be annihilated. So when you put the two things together, it does look like targeting killings of civilians on a mass scale, and that has changed the tone here. Here, there was some hope that there might be a settlement, that the Russians might be pulling out. Now the tone of elected people and people in the streets of Ukraine is we are collecting this evidence. There will be war crimes. There will be prosecutions, and Russia will be held responsible. It's not just now about winning this war. It's about prosecuting Russians for doing what they're doing. The question that remains to be answered, however, Joy, is what will the rest of the world do? What will Europe do? What will the EU do? And what will NATO do now that we have all borne witness to these dead bodies in the streets, civilians who were killed in some cases execution style and allegations of rape?
Unbelievable. Yes, what will the world do? That is the question of the day. Ali Velshi, my friend, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to speak with you. Stay safe. And thank you. I'm joined now by Inna Sovsun, a member of the Ukrainian parliament, and Amna Nawaz, chief correspondent for PBS NewsHour. I am going to start with you, MP Sovsun. The New York Times, as Ali accurately mentioned, they've put up these satellite images, which bring the lie to what Russia, the Kremlin, is claiming. And although they are still trying to claim even these are a hoax, these are the satellite images. This is the proof that they are committing mass genocide. Is there any sense of hope among Ukrainians at this point that anyone's ever going to pay for these crimes?
Well, that truly depends upon the investigation. There is an investigation that was started by the International Criminal Court. We're grateful for that. Ukrainian authorities are fully cooperating with those because we want to bring justice to the victims of those war crimes. And the question whether the justice will be done is a complicated one. We do realize that those proceedings take time, they take effort, and they also take cooperation from the Russian side in this case. Our only hope is that Putin is not there forever, and he will begin at some point. And even if it will take us years, we just have to do justice for what has been done to those cities, to those people in Bucha and many other cities around Kyiv. So we understand it's complicated, but we shall definitely seek for justice.
And MP Sovsun, to stay with you for just a moment, I mean, you posted a very moving tweet in which you talked about the Bucha massacre, and you talked about seeing a woman's body, and she reminded, the shoes she was wearing reminded you of shoes that you have, and that image stuck in your head. Just talk about what this is like for you to experience this as a Ukrainian woman, a young Ukrainian woman, seeing this slaughter of people who, as you said, are just like you.
It's so painful. You have to realize that Bucha is really close to Kyiv. Bucha is the place that me and my boyfriend would go for a nice walk during the weekend. It has a lovely park. It's a nice neighborhood, just a nice place to be in. And now I'm seeing those streets and I keep on remembering, like, this is where we have been to. And now they look like this. And the people who live there, they're just exactly like me, like middle class, working in Kyiv. We have the same taste. Like this image that I saw, I can't find it again, but I just saw it and I saw the sneakers and I was thinking, like, those are the sneakers just like the one I had. And it's silly that I pointed that out, actually. But I talked to a friend of mine and he said, you know what, I was afraid of saying someone, but I actually saw a guy wearing the shoes exactly the same as I have. And that also stuck in my head. So this understanding that those are just the same people as we are is for some reason is just making it more alive. And also it makes us understand that this is random. It could have been any one of us. It could have been me. It could have been any of my friends. Those people did nothing wrong. They just happened to be in the wrong place where the Russians came. And this understanding that they're just like us and they have been killed, it's just making it so very real. I still can't comprehend that this has actually happened, but this has happened and it keeps on happening. And that is yet another important message I want to leave you with. it is still happening in other cities in the rest of Ukraine that Russians have taken under control. And what we're asking for, not just investigation of those crimes already committed, but also please help us stop the crimes that are being committed right now as we speak. And the only way, unfortunately, to do that is not sanctions, but more weapons to the Ukrainian army so that we can stop that from continuing to happen.